Celebrities can learn something from Taylor Swift, and that is you don't move the needle as much as you think you do, especially in 2024. Good morning, 8:05 on a Wednesday. Thanks for being here on KCMO Talk Radio, 95.7 FM. Quinnipiac did a new poll that dropped yesterday, and it shows Donald Trump up 1 point over Kamala Harris. But I always like to go into these polls and look at all the questions, how people actually break down on some of these questions. And this one really stood out to me because it was done here in the last week or so. So it was done after Taylor Swift's endorsement of Kamala Harris, which came 2 weeks ago last night following the debate. The old Taylor Swift Instagram post of, after watching the debate, I have decided that Kamala Harris is the best choice for president. Because, yes, Taylor Swift sat down with her bag of popcorn. She was on the fence. She didn't know how she was going to vote. And then she watched the debate. That's definitely how it went down. Thought nobody ever. Even Travis Kelce's not buying that crap. But the question was asked in this Quinnipiac poll, does Taylor Swift's endorsement of Kamala Harris make you more enthusiastic about Harris's candidacy, less enthusiastic about Harris's candidacy, or doesn't it make a difference? And here are the numbers. No difference, 76%. So most people just don't care. More enthusiastic, 9%. Less enthusiastic, 13%. So overall, it was a negative for Kamala Harris to get a big endorsement from Taylor Swift. Because more people were less enthusiastic about Kamala Harris after the Taylor Swift endorsement or because of the Taylor Swift endorsement than were more enthusiastic to vote for Kamala Harris. And by the way, this breaks down across most groups. Let's start with men. 78% of men said no difference on the Taylor Swift endorsement. 8% of guys said they were more enthusiastic. Can the soy boys please stand up? And 13% of men said they were less enthusiastic. But it wasn't just guys. Women as well. 75% of women said the Taylor Swift endorsement makes no difference. 11% of women were more enthusiastic about Kamala Harris after the Taylor Swift endorsement, but 14% of women were less enthusiastic about Kamala Harris's candidacy after the Taylor Swift endorsement. And that number right there, the fact that that number is underwater with women, is as shocking as anything in this entire poll. Women were less enthusiastic than more enthusiastic about Kamala Harris's candidacy after a Taylor Swift endorsement. That bucks every trend you would have expected. I would have expected the guys to obviously be less enthusiastic, but the women, more women were like, no, I'm really not digging the Kamala candidacy. Then we're like, oh, this is awesome. I'm so enthused about Kamala Harris after Taylor Swift's endorsement. And the number's also underwater with independents, which obviously is a key voting group that will decide this election. 80% of independents said no difference on the Taylor Swift endorsement. 9% of independents said they're more enthusiastic about a Kamala Harris candidacy after the Taylor Swift endorsement. 11% said they were less enthusiastic. This stuff doesn't matter. The biggest superstar in the world right now came out and endorsed one of these two candidates. And not only did it not move the needle, it may have hurt that candidate. What do you make of that? At 913-408-7957. That's our studio line and our text line here on KCMO. And as we told you also on Monday, new polling showed that technically more voters have a favorable view of Donald Trump than of Taylor Swift. 46% view Donald Trump favorably, as some of you are noting on the text line, and Taylor Swift's numbers were about 44. And that was highlighted over the weekend. And once again, it's not like that poll was done by the DonaldTrumpFanClub.com. Like, it was a credible poll done by one of these polling outfits. And it showed that their favorability numbers, Trump and Taylor Swift, are about even. So this is bucking every trend that the media has tried to sell you on. Do you remember the hype train that was going on after the debate? When it was perceived that Kamala Harris had this great night and won, and then the icing on the cake, the thing that they were waiting for, was the Taylor Swift endorsement. Remember, too, the last night of the DNC. What happened there? There were the rumors. Somebody was going to show up. Who is it going to be? It might be Beyonce. It might be Taylor Swift. Someone's going to come out and just do the icing on the cake and make this the greatest DNC ever, and Kamala Harris is going to roll into the White House. They were hoping it was going to be Taylor Swift. It ended up being nobody, but they tried really hard to make it happen. And they kept you watching. They kept you on the edge of your seat. They are so caught up in a bubble right now that they can't see the forest through the trees. They don't realize that these celebrity endorsements are meaningless. And they have been for a very long time. They have been less meaningful than they've ever been in an age of social media, in an age where, by the way, content in general is so fragmented. There's not like the one person who's going to move the needle in a major way. That's just unlikely to happen in today's environment. And if the Taylor Swift endorsement can't do it, then who can? Which is why the old adage from Michael Jordan is really the best play right now for athletes and musicians. Republicans buy sneakers too. If you're not going to make a difference, and let's be honest, you're not, because if Taylor Swift can't, you're not going to, then why would you put your business, your brand in jeopardy? Why would you get involved in a political climate where most people have picked a side? There's a small sliver of undecided voters, and of that small sliver, do you really think they're waiting to hear from a celebrity to tell them what to do? Whether it's Taylor Swift, whether it's Steph Curry, Steve Kerr, or even, like a John Rich or a Kid Rock. Like, I'm not really looking for Kid Rock's input either. Sorry, Kid Rock, I'm not. So these people, they just don't understand that the play right now is to just hang tight and do your thing. Now, if you feel really strongly about it, you do you. But don't do it because you think you're moving anybody. Because the data clearly shows that you're not. 913-408-7957. Donna's in Paola. Donna, go ahead. You're on KCMO.
Hi. I just want to say that, those of us who are hardworking Americans who get up every morning and go have a job don't really care what the celebrities think, because they're not walking in our shoes. They're millionaires and billionaires that are, up there doing their own thing, thinking that they know everything. And those of us who are working hard for a living are ignoring everything they're saying because they don't mean anything. They don't have a clue. They may think that, they're important, but guess what? In the reality world, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
I have a remote control, and I can turn that off anytime I want, and most of the time I do. Because it's just not worth my time, my effort, or, my attention.
It's not. So. It's not, Donna. Thank you very much. 913-408-7957. I'm trying to read through some of your texts as well as quickly as I can. But obviously, a lot of opinions are coming in here. I do want to get to more of this and more of you. Pete, why isn't Taylor showing up at the Kamala rallies? She's got Chiefs games to go to. At least the home games, I hope. Maybe she's waiting on that ring as well. 913-408-7957 is how you join us on KCMO Talk Radio, 95.7 FM. Streaming, as always, on the KCMO Talk Radio app. Well, Pete, why are you so obsessed with Taylor Swift? I'm not obsessed with her. It's a notable part of the Quinnipiac poll. Trust me, there's no obsession here. The people who are obsessed with Taylor Swift are those who thought that she was going to deliver Kamala Harris a landslide victory. And when you have hard data showing that's not the case, and by the way, she's hanging out, maybe right now, in our neck of the woods, I want to make sure that she knows that. That's all. I'm sure that Taylor used to be on 95.7 FM when she was in town because they used to play her music, and she might be punching around the dial here, driving around, and goes to 95.7 and realizes it's now us. So we've just got to share the information. That's all. 913-408-7957. Pete Mundo on KCMO.